Problem is with timing. The first thing that came out were those recordings of the Metro 911 calls. And it's impossible to take those because there's two separate frequencies for law enforcement and EMTs. So in those recordings, you got all this overlapping. So it's impossible to determine accurate times. In listening to all that, it sounds to me like John's hit, he's run over. We know now that he's under the ambulance. And I had always assumed that within a quarter of a mile or so, they heard him screaming. And they continued to drive another mile and a half with John screaming under that vehicle. What we know now is that they ran over John in front of the Tudors. They drove to the end of the road. They got up on 119. They drove down to the middle school. They circled through the middle school parking lot, came back down 119 to the four-way stop sign right there at Poca Valley Bank. At that point, one of the occupants says, they're on the phone with 911 by this point. One of the occupants says, our rig or truck or whatever terminology they used is making a noise. Is he under there? All right. That's the first time that the occupants of that vehicle made any indication that they thought John might be under the truck. But then later, they kind of dismissed it that John might be under the truck, because then later in the recording, both video and audio of the internal occupants of that cab, when they're on the phone with 911, they say, I don't want to say what they say. The impression I got is they believe that John is lying in front of the Dairy Queen. So this is after they're going down 119, after they've gone past the initial scene of the whatever terminology you want to apply to it, and until they make the turn into the bus garage. They turn in and they back up. When they back up is where they hear John screaming. It's also where John becomes dislodged from the undercarriage of that ambulance. Then they drive off. So they didn't drive that it's not 1.9 miles. I think it's maybe 1.2 miles or something. They didn't drive that whole time with knowing that John was screaming under the ambulance. The video clearly shows that the first time they say anything about screaming is very shortly, or maybe when John is finally released from under that ambulance. I think that's important for people to know, because to me, and I think it was important maybe for the family, but to me, it was just unfathomable how people could hear screaming and then continue to drive
Right.
all that distance. Now, let me say one other thing. I was asked today, do I believe a crime was committed? Absolutely. A crime was committed when the decision, either intentional or unintentional, was made to run over John. I mean, there's no question. And frankly, in my mind, it doesn't matter what happened up to that point. But let me be clear, never in any of this video was John ever actually harassing anyone. Never. But once they hit him, the thing that I, along with probably everyone else, has a real issue with is, why in the hell did you not stop? because if they, and we could if all we want. My granddad used to say, if doesn't make it true. If frogs had wings, they wouldn't bump their ass every time they hopped. So we could if all we want, but if they would have stopped, like probably every other person did, John may very well be alive today. We don't know, we'll never know. But certainly his chances of survival were significantly greater. And that's what I can't wrap my head around.
Yeah, me neither. And the fact that 911 told them not once, not twice, but 4 times to stop.
That is not accurate.
Okay.
That is not accurate. Metro 911 did not tell them to stop until almost at the end. I mean, they were literally, so when they were at the bus garage and they reported hearing the scream, they were told, and it's clear on the audio, drive back to Dairy Queen. So up to that point, they had never been told to stop. Now, let me say this. I think that Metro 911 has failed everyone involved in this case. Because not once were those folks told to stop until they were already back almost to the church where they ultimately stopped. That's been reported a lot. They were told to stop twice. You've heard they were told to stop 4 times. They were not. What happened was when they came out of the bus garage and they reported the screaming, 911 said, pull into the Napa and listen to see if you can hear him. So they circled into the Napa parking lot. They couldn't hear him. And then they drove back to where they were directed to drive back to, which was the Dairy Queen. Now, once they were told to stop, and I've got written down how much time that had elapsed in there. It was a considerable amount of time. Once they were told to stop, there were a couple places where they could have pulled off and they did not. And once they were told to stop, they pulled into the church and they continued to drive around the church lot, waiting for law enforcement to arrive. But John wasn't under the ambulance at that point. So, that is a prime example of a fact that started with the 911, the recordings of the Metro 911 dispatch conversation, where the audio says, should they stop 10-4? Should they stop if he has a knife? 10-4, they should stop. All right. Other thing we learned today is, again, these are 2 separate radio frequencies, right? EMS is on one, police department's on another.
Mm-hmm.
That message from law enforcement that said they should stop was never relayed through Metro 911 to the ambulance. So, this started with, they were told to stop once. And now how far are we in now? 11 days? Now it's like the old game of telephone. Now they were told to stop 4 times.
Right.
Well, they weren't. They were only told to stop one. It was only conveyed to them one time to stop, and that wasn't until they were actually past the initial point of impact. And it's just, and Krista, I don't mean to, I'm not getting on you. I hope you don't feel that.
No, I don't feel that way at all.
Yeah, but that's exactly the kind of thing that kind of gets run with and all that kind of stuff. But again, we can't lose sight of the fact that if you hit someone and you clearly run them over, you should not have to be told to stop. Why in the world do you keep driving? Now, with the video I saw today, a good criminal defense lawyer will be able to explain that.
Yeah.
You know, Scott, if I was working for the defense team on this case, if in fact their charges come, I would be all over. And I'm not going to say what I would do because I don't want to give anyone traction. But let me tell you, the prosecutor is in one hell of a position, given what you said tonight. And I have faith that she's going to do the right thing. Whatever that is, it'll be justice the way our justice system is designed to work.
I do too. And I see some people saying, ask about the audio.
Yeah, over and over and over,
What-
like you've
what
addressed
is-
that.
What does that mean?
They're talking about the audio, what was being said, like what
On the dash cam video, I believe.
what we've been talking about the entire time.
And if there's a specific question, if I can answer it, I will happily answer it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, the question I had was, did the girls know who John was?
That's a good question. And when I first spoke to the lead investigator with the sheriff's department on this, I asked that kind of question. And he made a comment. He said, with a lot of other questions I asked him, he said, I want you to see the video. That is subject to interpretation. And I thought, what does he mean? It's subject to interpretation. Now, hearing the video, I understand, or hearing the audio and seeing the video. I understand. I mean, I get it. And ultimately, like I said before, in the criminal side, this is going to be up to a jury of 12 of our peers. On the civil side, it's also going to be in the hands of a jury. I know the arguments that I would make. I'm confident that Deb Rusnick will make the arguments she needs to make. With regard to, I'm seeing in the topics, the things that they have said to each other. So I see the dispatch audio said the shoe was found around Napa. Not correct. Not correct. There is, did they talk bad about John? Well, again, what do you mean bad about John? Did they say, we did the community a favor by getting rid of him? No, they didn't say that.
That's not true.
Yeah. Did they say, I don't know. I mean, I've heard a lot of things that were said.
Right.
So someone said the ambulance dash cam said they were laughing. Again, subject to interpretation. There were times when, and what's beautiful about this is we not only have the audio, we have the video. So we can hear and we can see. Were they saying derogatory things? They were making up their story.
Yeah, so like were they making did they call anybody while they were in there? Like, for example, maybe their dad or their uncle, the people
that's a fantastic question. One of the things that I addressed in my statement is, number one, there is no relative at all to either one of these women that work in the Kanawha County Sheriff's Department or any other agency investigating this incident. One of the ladies driving, her middle name matches a middle name of a sheriff's, I think he's a sergeant, detective sergeant or something, in the sheriff's department. Obviously, people say, oh, well, there's a Middleton here and there's a Middleton there. They must be related. Well, my name is Summers, and I can tell you I have no relation to Suzanne Summers or Larry Summers in the federal government, a Summers here that is filthy rich, no relation whatsoever. But what I can also tell you is that came to the attention of the lead investigator immediately. And all these interviews are on body cam. He asked the driver, are you related, Donna Summers? Right, I'm no relation to Donna Summers either. He asked her, are you related to anyone, to the Middleton in the Kanawha County Sheriff's Department? She said no. That wasn't good enough for him. He went to Middleton and said, hey, I'm investigating this. This is the person. Your name is the same last name as hers. Is there any relation? And he said, absolutely not. I'm from New Jersey, and the only reason I'm here is because I married a West Virginia girl. None of my Middleton family resides in West Virginia. The other thing that's out there is, I believe, I haven't confirmed this on my own, but I believe that the other occupant's father holds some sort of position. I've heard fire chief, I've heard fire marshal, and that somehow he was trying to cover things up and all this. I can tell you that from what I know right now, I do not believe that that is the fact. And if he were, he is failing miserably at it, because these folks don't give a shit who these ambulance drivers, or who the ambulance driver and the passenger is related to. One of them said, and I kind of laughed, and I told him, I say this on at least a monthly basis. He's like, this is my job. This is my career. I have a family. If people think that I'm going to jeopardize that because of somebody out there, it's not going to happen. And I said, at least once a month, I say, I like you, but you're not worth losing my law license over.
Amen.
So I see some other comments here that reminds me of things that I want to address. And I'm sorry I'm keeping y'all so late. It's well beyond my bedtime, but we now know a lot of facts that we didn't know before. The one thing I can say is, and this is for the civil case and not the criminal case, either there was a horrible failure in training of these two women in this ambulance, or these two women completely ignored the training that they were provided.
Right.
We know that there is no way what happened should have happened. I see a lot of questions. Do we know what they're saying in the ambulance? Yes, we know exactly what they're saying. We see them saying it. One of the things that the prosecutor has done, which is fantastic, and it will be wonderful, is her IT people, because the dash cam is one cam that records forward. The other cam faces interior and records, and you could watch each of them separately. What they have been able to do is put them on the same screen so they run simultaneously. So you can see what they're seeing. At the same time, you can see their reaction to what is going on. And all of the audio is recorded. You can hear everything that's said. Some of it's garbled because there's clearly episodes of panic. There's one point where both of the occupants are both on the phone speaking to two different entities or people, or however you want to say it. So it's hard to follow what's going on. But it is all there. Deb Rusnick has analyzed it. She could probably recite it in her sleep at this point.
Yeah.
Was there bad things said about John? In my view, yes. Were they specific to John? Maybe, maybe not. To me, it is not completely clear whether they actually knew this was John. The other thing to understand is this wasn't these EMTs' normal station. So there's a lot of things that people are saying that once you know the full facts, make a little bit more sense.
Yeah.
But in my view, I think there's a comment made early on that indicates to me that at least one of the occupants of that vehicle knew John and knew it was John. Now, that's open to interpretation. Do they say there's some creepy guy lurking around? Yes, they say that. Do they? I think at one point there's a comment about, he's known to hide in dumpsters or something like that. So let's see, Scott, I just need to know if you've ever worked with Taylor George, if you see this. I don't know. I'm not sure who Taylor George is. I can't say yes or no. I mean, I've run across thousands and thousands of people in the last 30 years. Do they really seem afraid for their lives? That is another question that is open for interpretation. Hi, Laura. I want to be real careful what I say. I think words and actions tell a different story. And I think I'll leave it at that. Do I believe that they were really afraid for their lives? I don't. I mean, I don't want to apologize for it, but I don't believe they were really afraid for their lives. Words are words and actions are something else. I believe afterwards they expressed some real, genuine fear. But as one of the family members said, and I think very accurately, they fear the consequences of what they have done.
So I've had this angel mom asking to come up here most of the night. She's saying she has some really important information. Laura Jean calls her mama, Audrey Short. She wants to tell the lolly or something and somebody else. So I'm going to hop off here. I am beyond tired. Thank you so much, Scott, for coming in here. And if you guys want to let her come up here and talk, go right ahead.
Krista, are you and I squared away?
Yes. We will be there tomorrow at 4:00 to keep John's name alive. We probably won't be out there lengthy amount of time because I'm about done with it. But guess what? We will keep his name alive. And that's what we're going to do from here on out. It's not a protest for justice because I think we're going to get that, hopefully. But just to keep his name alive. Hey, good night, guys.
We appreciate you.
See you, Krista.
She's a good one, Scott.
Yes.
Scott, do we want to bring anybody up? Is tonight the night we should do that, or you want to wait?
Well, I mean, here's the way I look at it. There is no such thing as too much information. I am always interested in hearing what someone has to say.
Whoever it was, could you say something in the chat really quick so I can find you?
And,
And
you know,
Laura's in here also, Scott.
right, I saw that. And I, you know, if Laura knows her and trusts her, I trust Laura, I mean, completely. And frankly, if she's got wrong information, I'd like to correct it.
Let's put her up. Hey, Angel Mom, welcome up. Thank you.
Well, yes, Laura does know me. She's in the box. Laura, tell him that you know me. I just trying to call Laura. I know she's been busy. And yes, Laura does call me her mama. Thank you, Laura. But anyway, I have a message for Laura. There's a man across from the EMT station. All I can say is he wants to talk to Laura Jean and her dad and the lawyer. He said that he has been there, watches the EMT daily about certain things and what they're doing, and he just gave me his number. I was up there protesting in Elkview tonight, and I've got his number, and Laura, I also gave him your number, but he said it would be good even if the lawyer wants to hear it. I said I will pass this on to her.
Okay,
This is an older gentleman. He lives in a White House right below the EMT station right there in Elkview. And all he did was telling me so far. He said he watched them girls go outside and smoke and party all the time, but there's other info that he wants to pass on that might be helpful
so
for the
here's what I would ask.
Okay.
Number one, unless Laura specifically says otherwise,
Right.
please stop having people call Laura. This family needs some rest. And I am happy and both disappointed in the fact that Laura is here. Laura, please get some rest. But what I would ask is you tell that gentleman to call my office. I will give his information to our private investigator, and the private investigator will reach out to him.
Well, see, I always call Laura, and that's what I was trying to
I-
reach out, and I just left her a message. I did
I,
not.
I know, and I know that so many people have such good and huge hearts and such good intentions.
All right, I'll stay away. That's
No,
fine.
no, please don't take that the wrong way, because what happens?
Oh, no.
Yeah. Hold on a second. I saw Laura comment something here. Yeah. Everybody is so good intentioned. And, the problem is there are so many people that love this family and that love John. They want to convey the information, but because this family is so well and loved, if it were one phone call, that would be one thing. But, they're just not getting any rest. And Laura, please, if you want to speak directly to these folks, you're absolutely able to do. I'm not gonna tell you not to by any means. But I hope I didn't hurt her feelings. That certainly wasn't my intention.
No. And Scott, I mean, you've done this for a while. People are emotionally attached, and
Sure.
they have the intentions are so good. Even
Yes,
if they hear something, they're going to repeat it, but they're not doing it out of bad intentions.
absolutely not. And they want to help. And
Yeah.
I think that just shows, I mean, this family is loved so much, so much.
It's amazing.
It is. It is. And and I know the family just really, really appreciates this, but it has to be overwhelming. It just has to be.
Excuse me. I'm so sorry.
Bless you.
Um,
Yeah, Laura says no malice in her at all, and I believe it. And I wish she would have stayed on a little bit longer, so we could tell her that. But for my purposes, information is ultimately information that is usable and admissible information needs to come through a certain channel. And one of your investigators are back. Okay. So anyway,
Scott, thank you.
well, my pleasure, and I'm just trying to get a little bit of information out there, and like I said, I'll be talking some more in the not too distant future. Some more detail, and it's on Channel 8 here. So just be patient, continue the love for the family. They need it. They feel it. I just don't know how to strong enough convey this. They appreciate it, and it is certainly helping them through, one of the worst times in their lives. And, keep showering this family with your love and prayers and everything you can. But please understand that they are grieving. At some point, they're going to have to figure out what a new normal is. And now, and I don't know if you were on here earlier or not, Laura, but one of the things that I told them, and I like we talked earlier, I put something on my professional Facebook page. We now know exactly what happened. We will probably never know why it happened. And some of the evidence, may very well be subject to interpretation. I have to say, when I saw it for the second time today, I was able to see it with a little bit different eyes. And although, it was hard to see the family see that. I would like nothing more, and the prosecutor would like nothing more than to be able to say, here it is, watch it for yourself. But that's not beneficial to the end goal that we hope to achieve. And Laura, again, I don't know if you were on here or not, but I said, at some point, you all will feel like talking, and you all will talk. You just don't feel like it right now. So
Sorry, I was writing a book in the chat. but I was giving you props, Mr. Summers.
please, it's Scott. Mr. Summers is my dad.
Yeah, I was just saying, I just wanted to thank everyone for staying connected. I know it's late. And Scott, what I said in there, and you may read it or not, now we know the official word from the family lawyer. And don't buy into all the nonsense, all the sensationalist. And I can't wait till you return to update us. My gosh, man, I am amazed that, look, guys, he's an attorney and it's after 11 and he's still up working. So there's some good lawyers still out there. And Scott Summers is one
It's
of them.
actually 12:30 here.
Oh, geez, it is. I don't have my glasses, Scott. It is 12:30.
Yeah.
Holy majoli.
Yeah. And
So
and I started very early this morning, but one of the things I saw that, and I mean, I could continue to address things all night long, and I just physically can't do that. But the other thing I want to talk about is people say, why are they, one of them at least, in the Carolinas or wherever they're rumored to be? And that was one of the questions the family rightfully had today. The answer to that is they're entitled to go wherever they want to go. There is no legal obligation for them to stay here until they're charged and until they are living under the terms and conditions of a bond. There is no legal way anyone can keep them here.
And thank God for that, because if you're on the other end of that, getting charged, you would want the same freedom as everyone else.
Right, right. It's the old innocent until proven guilty. I mean, it's the basic fundamental premise of our society. We believe they are guilty, or I need to stop saying they. I honestly don't know, based on what I've seen today, that there would be any charges that could potentially be brought against the passenger of the vehicle. Again, not a criminal lawyer, not my decision to make. But based on what I saw today, I think it would be very difficult to bring criminal charges against the passenger of the vehicle.
Perhaps you would make an excellent witness for someone. Hey, real quick, last thing, unless you want to continue, I want you to go to bed. Laura Jean, please go to bed. Also, Scott, one last thing. We got into a little debate when we started talking about the case about, they're on the beach, getting a suntan, getting paid. And Scott will back me up on this. If you're working there and there's not an administrative investigation, they're going to suspend you with pay. If they have an administration review or investigation and find you had violated policies or committed a crime, then that'll change to no pay or termination. Scott, that was one of the points. Am I correct on what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct, and it's a hard pill to swallow. I mean, a man was killed, and there has been no punishment meted out, and then we hear that one of them is hanging out down south somewhere. From a practical standpoint, from a legal standpoint, from a guy who used to defend companies and corporations, if they just suspended them without pay or filed them, they've just bought another, or fired them, they've just bought another lawsuit. And trust me, they've got enough problems with what's coming in this case.
Oof. All right. I should just give you my login credentials, Scott, so you can just come and do it, because let me tell you something. I think I read the comments. Absolutely. You're the only guy that has made this much sense on the show since we started February the 14th. You're the crowd's favorite because you come and bring the receipts, but you bring the calmness. And we're grateful for you. Thank you.
I appreciate that. And I may ask for a favor in return at some point. I may need you to tell my all now grown adult kids that I make sense.
Hey, you've got dad jokes on TikTok. Come on.
Well, there you go.
What's going on with these kids?
There
No,
you
Scott,
go.
You're an absolute complete gentleman. Very rare, one of a kind guy. Thank you. The chat loves you. And Scott, you're welcome here anytime. And if you see something that we're veering off course, come and hit me with something and we'll get back in the center. But we don't want to do anything that would damage the case nor the potential jury pool. So that's a big, important thing.
Well, and that's one reason why I signed on tonight, because I hadn't seen it. And, I sent you a message earlier, but I think you were already signed on. I wanted to just kind of listen. I'm not really ready to talk about specific details yet. But then I was told that, I mean, there were some absolute falsehoods being thrown out there. And I felt compelled to, I just felt compelled to get on and correct them.
Thank you for doing that. Thank you.
It's my pleasure. And, you know, I've talked to Laura, obviously, and the family, and, you know, we discussed how to put information out there. And just so everybody knows, I have instructed the family that I certainly don't mind for them to say whatever is on their heart to say. However, their kind of standing instruction is you don't have to talk to anyone. And if you don't want to, don't do it. Some people may be upset, some people may be offended, but I do that for two reasons. Number one, I need to control the narrative to make sure that it is accurate. Number two, these folks need time to grieve and time to rest.
Yeah. And then once again, Scott, I'm going to send you off because you got to go to bed.
I do.
Listen, one more time before before he leaves. Do not, please, even if you have the greatest intentions in the world, unless it's something that's a dire emergency, please don't message this family right now. They're going to need you afterwards, because all of this is going to go away. They're still going to need their friends after the grieving process. And just please don't message the family. Am I right, Scott?
Yeah, and I would say that unless, you know, there are some close people that I'm sure that Laura and the family want to hear from.
Yes. And
the problem is everybody feels close to Laura and this family because they're just that kind of people. I leave it completely up to Laura, but, you know, I would say if Laura needs you, she will reach out to you.
There you go. Scott.
But obviously, Laura, I mean, I don't want to speak for you. So, you know, I'm trying to look out for them is all I'm trying to do.
Well, thank you. Go to bed, get some sleep, because we're depending on you. And Scott, you know, I'm saluting people all week. So here's your daily salute, sir.
I got you. Carry on. I'll be in the area all day.
Thank you, my friend. We appreciate you. Great love to your family.
Thank you. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
That's a lot to unpack. But you know what? We kept you up late enough. You heard it directly from the lawyer. Use your own judgment. Use your own discernment when you see stuff out there. I personally wouldn't be engaging in anyone's misinformation. That's just me. I'm. Good night to you too. Thank you. It's heavy. It's heavy. I don't even know. You can't respond to what we just heard, other than I want to say two things. We're going to bid. Number one, if you had any doubt that the case is not being investigated properly, I think that was a very clear signal. If you read between the lines, it's being handled. But my biggest takeaway, every time Scott Summers comes on here to speak, he is so graceful in the way he explained. He's an attorney. He's a litigator, guys. I would love to see him in action. But the way he just explained that, it brought the entire community to center. And he is so eloquent in the way he talks and the way he conveys that message. And go to sleep tonight no matter where you're at. If you're in West Virginia, if you're at Elkview, go to sleep tonight and sleep well knowing that Scott Summers is protecting this family in the name of John Lucas. You can't, that's it. Mic drop, end the show, guys. Thank you. Thank you for staying.